The Amityville horror is probably America's most famous haunted house story. It hits a lot of hot topics: haunted houses, true crime, and demonic possession, pop culture, the whole 9 yards. I'm your host Makayla, and today we're going to take you through the whole story of the Amityville horror. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe because it's free. Why not, right? On November 13th, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald or Butch Defoe Jr. entered a local bar in Amityville and cried out for help, saying that his entire family had been shot. Defoe and some of the bar patrons returned to Defoe's house at 112 Ocean Avenue. Once inside, they found Defoe's parents, Ronald Defoe Sr. and Louise Defoe, deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. The police were called, and when they arrived, it was discovered that not only were Defoe's parents not alive, but so were Defoe's siblings: Dawn, who was 18, Allison, who was 13, Mark, who was 12, and John Matthew, who was 9. Ronald Defoe Jr. claimed that he knew who the person who committed the crime was, saying that it was a mob hitman. The police understandably didn't buy that story and proceeded to interview Defoe. The interview resulted in numerous inconsistencies, and it quickly became apparent that Defoe was the prime suspect. But the next day, Defoe had confessed to the crime, saying, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." Then Defoe went to trial. However, his story had changed. His lawyers claimed insanity, stating that Defoe claimed he heard demonic voices urging him to take their lives. The jury, however, didn't find Defoe's defense believable, and he was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 sentences of 25 years to life. Still, some unsettling questions remained. All of the victims were found shot face down in their bed, in separate rooms, suggesting that all their lives had been taken in their sleep. How had Defoe managed to shoot them all with a loud rifle and not disturb anyone from their slumber in the process? Or had he shot them elsewhere and then staged the scene to make it look like they were all asleep in their beds? If so, why? The full story will likely never be known, because Defoe kept changing details of events over the years depending on who he talked to. Whatever the whole truth is, Defoe took it to his grave on March 12, 2021. In December 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house at 112 Ocean Avenue. George and Kathy were made aware of the crime and even bought the house with some of Defoe's furniture still inside. The couple moved into the home with 3 children from Kathy's previous marriage: Daniel, age 9, Christopher, age 7, and Melissa, age 5. Not even a full month later, the Lutz family fled the home, citing the supernatural as the cause for their unexpected eviction. Some of their ghostly claims included George mysteriously waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night, which was supposedly the time that Ronald Defoe carried out the crime. Green slime oozing out of the walls, doors opening and closing on their own, people levitating above their beds, sounds of a phantom marching band. Yes, really. A demonic pig. Yes, again, really. And so much more. In 1976, ghost hunters Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous now for being the main characters in the Conjuring franchise, even investigated the house. The story of the horrific misadventures that befell the Lutz family was turned into the book The Amityville Horror, written by Jay Anson, published in 1977. The words "A True Story" were embezzled across the book cover in big red font, so there was no way to miss it. This wasn't just a ghost story, it was real. In 1979, the story was adapted into a film starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder as George and Kathy Lutz. The film later spawned a slew of sequels, spin-offs, knockoffs, and even a remake in 2005. A film that's probably best remembered today for featuring Ryan Reynolds' abs. As you might expect, the Lutz's story was met with a lot of criticism, and like Ronald Defoe's claims, it was loaded with inconsistencies. For example, the book includes a scene where the Lutz family calls the police after someone or something rips their front door open and right off the hinges, but records show that there were no calls from the Lutz house to the police station during the 28 days they lived there. Another example is that the book claims the Lutz family found cloven hoof prints in the snow outside their house, but there hadn't been any snowfall during the time they lived there. So basically, things just weren't adding up. People also thought about where the house was built. In the past, places that have experienced hauntings or supernatural things occurring have turned to where it was built. The Lutz, however, never claimed it was. Many of the unauthorized books and films speculated about power spots, burial grounds, 17th century warlocks, and other even more histories from the property. None of them were put forth by the Lutzes, and none of them have a strong basis in provable historical fact. Things got further complicated when William Weber, Ronald's lawyer, told People magazine that he, George, and Kathy cooked up the entire story to make money. "I know this book is a hoax. We created this horror story over many bottles of wine," said Weber. George and Kathy maintained that they were telling the truth, however. They even took a polygraph test, and the test indicated they weren't lying. Here is also an interview that the Lutz family did with Good Morning America.
The house was fine. It's a lovely house. Yeah. And we enjoyed moving in. Within a week, Kathy's hand had been touched by something that we discussed and couldn't explain. It was just something unseen. Within...
I mean, this is in the daylight, or was it?
Yes, it's
during the day.
Right.
So did anything actually scary happen in the house while the Lutz family lived there? Probably, but people say it most likely didn't involve the supernatural. In 2013, the documentary My Amityville Horror was released. The doc focused on the now adult Daniel Lutz, who recounts his side of the story. Daniel doesn't deny the supernatural happenings, but he also makes many claims that his adoptive father, George, was abusive and cruel to him. Watching the documentary, the viewer begins to read between the lines. There may not have been supernatural demons within the walls of that house, but George Lutz might have been abusive enough to traumatize and terrify his family. However, maybe there was a supernatural being that was there but decided to stop after the Lutz family. Some people, however, are 100% certain that they didn't make it up because the family wasn't making any profit off their claims, but this was proved untrue. They received a portion of the royalties or licensing fees for some of the books and a few movies, but it was never a great deal of money, and it faded very quickly. After a life of comfort and stability in New York, the Lutzes as a family and as individuals struggled financially for the rest of their lives. Amityville didn't make them rich, however, not even in the beginning, so they did make some money off of it, but not a lot. But let's go back to the polygraph, or some say the lie detector test. The instrument typically used to conduct a polygraph test consists of a physiological recorder that assesses 3 indicators of autonomic arousal: heart rate/blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity. Most examiners today use computerized recording systems. Rate and depth of respiration are measured by pneumographs wrapped around a subject's chest. Cardiovascular activity is assessed by a blood pressure cuff. Skin conductivity is measured through electrodes attached to a subject's fingertips. The recording instrument and questioning techniques are only used during a part of the polygraph examination. A typical examination includes a pre-test phase during which the technique is explained and each test question reviewed. The pre-test interview is designed to ensure that subjects understand the questions and to induce a subject's concern about being deceptive. Polygraph examinations often include a procedure called a stimulation test, which is a demonstration of the instrument's accuracy in detecting deception. So how would they have passed it if they were really lying? So it's true then. Or they were just crazy and saw things, because the test works by testing what you believe to be true, not the actual truth. Maybe the family was seeing things that they believed were real. Beyond that, whether or not the house was really haunted is a question of faith. No one who has lived in the house since the Lutz family has ever claimed supernatural experiences, but the belief will likely never go away, because it's too built into our pop culture at this point. Horror and ghost fans have been drawn to the house over the years, much to the annoyance of the subsequent owners. They got so annoyed, in fact, that the house as it stands now no longer has the iconic eye-like windows that you see on every single poster for every single Amityville horror related movie. On top of that, the address has been changed. It's now 108 Ocean Avenue, but it doesn't matter. People continue to flock to the house hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural or perhaps hear a tune from that phantom marching band. Let us know what you really think happened in the comments below, and we will see you next time.